a little longer than 40 minutes. So we'll try to keep about 20 minutes, if possible, towards the end for any further questions. And those who are attending it for the first time, like Professor Heva Bovela, and I see Mr. Premalal Kurupu and Samanthi Dimel from Jamaica, if you like to have the pass, I do 5 webinars. I normally cover 10 articles written by me over the years, and also some additional PowerPoints. So if you would like to read those, send an email to Gaia. Her email is here. And Gaia will make sure you get the past articles and things like that. So during my presentation, we won't have any questions. We will go too fast. We are covering a lot. And at the end, we'll have a little discussion time if you want to ask questions. And just to clarify one thing, the lady who answered the question about structured abstracts in academic journals got little mixed up. So I want to tell the normal abstract system, which is to me very old-fashioned, is one chunk of a summary of normally about 250, 300 words of what the article says in 6,000 words. But the modern academics, modern day academics, particularly Emerald, which is the world's #1 publisher of management journals, there are 300 titles. They basically dropping that old-fashioned one paragraph because it confuses people when you read things in chunks. So now the modern style is you break it into different subheadings. So in these 2 articles, I had to follow that. I don't negotiate. And so you have the purpose, 1 paragraph, and what's the methodology? That is the 1 paragraph. Now, when you are writing your dissertations for the masters, you should follow that. You should have the methodology, the purpose, objectives. Then the findings is the main area. What did you find in this article, right? I'll also give you some tips when you're writing your thesis. So this is the most important one. And then the research implications. Sometimes you want to do research, like Major's topic he was telling me about cruise tourism in Sri Lanka or something like that, but you don't have enough adventure tourism, not enough material. And so my point is, don't pick something that you don't have no research at all, no other person has gone there, or you have too much of research, and that's too much. You have to pick something that where you have to find what the people before you focus on that area. What did they find? What did they contribute to the body of knowledge? That's what academics do. When you do a PhD, you are trained to publish, right? So, and then you are adding to the body, you enrich the industry that you are serving by that. And then you often writers, now I'm at the moment editing 15 articles written by various professors around the world. Some of them still, all of them have their PhDs, but they write in chunks and not clear. And I say, no, that's not good. We are not going to accept that. Be more clear. So the structure, this gives a little structure of your abstract. Articles should also be written with a structure. How many, what's the word count? I will have the first section, 1,000 words, next section, another 1,000, like things like that. So this is a structured abstract, which is new to most academics, and I want you to understand the benefit of this. And then, of course, you write what is practical implications. No point writing academic article if there are no practical implications. That's the whole idea. You're trying to enhance the industry with your body of work, not to confuse them. So not to be in ivory tower and write all these things which will never be used in industry. And then keywords. Keywords are important for all the libraries in the world. Keywords. So when you try to find articles, you use the keywords. So in this one, I put Europe, Asia, innovative strategies, Australasia. So either geographically or I say hospitality industry. So then your article gets tracked through those keywords. So that's I want to clarify that because the lady had a little bit of a challenge in explaining that. Okay, so today on innovations, I'm not going to go through the article, you have read it. That's the whole purpose of this first 40 minutes test, because I want you to read them so I can only add additional material, not to go through the same line by line. So it is a journal theme issue looked at the global 13 or 16 countries on innovations. And then what your job is to see what is out of those, what are the things we can implement in our country. You may not be able to implement everything. For example, slum tourism, because our culture is such, slum tourism will not go down very well. Understand? So although it worked in Colombia, it may not. So if that's what I want to get from that particular question. I want you to answer an additional question. I would like you to go to the chat box down, answer this question, and we are going to look at the numbers at the end. So question of the day, can innovation be used in all human activities? Since we are learning about innovation, question is, can innovation be used in all human activities? Your answer got to be yes or no. So go to the chat room, just put yes or no to that question, and we'll come back to that at the end of the PowerPoint presentation. All right? Okay, so this particular publication, it came in 2019. It was published by Emerald, and you have gone through the sort of summaries of the 13 articles. So I won't waste any more time on it, but I just want to show the cover of this. It's an e-journal and very highly respected. It's a double peer-reviewed journal. That means every article that comes are read by two other top academics, and no one knows who read it, who gave the comments. Only the editor knows both sides. And so basically, we try to focus there. How does innovation help in tourism around the world? Although we said around the world, we focus on 16 countries. So there are technological aspects which are normally associated with innovation, but it's not the only thing. Sustainability aspects and environmental aspects, etc. Today, this morning, my morning, that means your Saturday night, I found a summarized article I wrote in a magazine, trade magazine, based on this concept. So what happened was, I have been involved in innovation in education and hospitality from 2007. Then I try to read, every book you read, people give different definitions, and so I try to, in a context of hospitality and tourism, which is the world's #1 industry in terms of employment, if you add the airlines to that, it's the biggest industry. So it's important to look at it in that context. And I did a summarized version of this, the big whole book into 3 pages, and I sent it to you this morning. We don't have to go to it, but I'm just showing the slides. It's a sort of a summarized version. And what I like is at the bottom, the editor put a statement from Steve Jobs. I hope you all knew of Steve Jobs, right? He was the founder of the iPhone, etc. And it's a company he started. He got fired from it, and he came back, and he became the most innovative chief executive officer, chairman of a company in the world. And of course, he passed away a couple of years ago. He always believed innovation is the ability to see change as opportunity, not a threat. So if you're going through a pandemic or whatever, he always saw the bright side of it. Anyway, he was a great visionary. So what is innovation? We can discuss a lot. Different people have different views. This particular slide talks about the vision and the inspiration and the ideas, things like that. My interpretation is slightly different. What I did was, in 4 of the conferences I chaired in 2017 and 2018, I brainstormed with all the delegates who came there from different countries. They came from about 40 countries. What is innovation? Well, what does it mean to you? And then we brainstorm. Sometimes it's nice to get that sort of feeling instead of reading a long article. So we got a lot of ideas, and then I tried to, in writing this book, try to define innovation again. And of course, I came with a definition which is very long. I don't like long definitions, but in respect to the academics who contributed to that discussions, I try to include all the keywords. Now here, this is a 50-word definition, which is too long. I don't like long ones, but then I wrote it. What I want to focus is are the things I have marked in red. Those are more important than the blackbirds to me. So it's an art. End of the day, it's not a science. It's an art. Innovation is an art. And the practical part is very important. No point innovating something unless it practically can be implemented. And it got to be something new. You can use the same things, but you have to give a new sort of dimension to the, it got to be sustainable. You guys all study sustainable tourism and all. It should be sustainable. It should show some sort of an improvement. And another keyword is teams. If you are a great creator like Leonardo da Vinci 500 years ago, he is not exactly an innovator. He was a creator. He had all these ideas. But innovation normally implies that it's a team effort. Please mute your things. We can hear your. Isha, can you mute your. Isha, can you mute your speaker? We can hear you what you are talking. Just mute it. Yeah, please. Thank you. And end of the day, it should enhance. The customer satisfaction should be there, improve the productivity, revenues, profitability. So end of the day, the business case is important in innovation. So I then summarize that into a shorter one. I like this one. I would like to put my name there because it's a shorter, easy one to remember. So here the black are important. Art, new ideas, enhance, satisfaction, profitability. And then there was a table introduced, a figure introduced as well, right? 3 levels: implement, improve, enhance. So you come with a new idea, and then you try to improve the productivity of the business, right? Running a factory or a food, fast food outlet or a hotel, doesn't matter, or tour operation. The product, services, productivity, you're trying to improve those. And then you're trying to enhance the satisfaction. You're trying to improve the satisfaction of your 3 customers, external customer who's paying, satisfaction. You are trying to enhance the satisfaction of the customer who's the owner of the business. That's very important. Investors, the revenues and the profitability. And you're also you should try to enhance the satisfaction of your internal customer, employees. You must never lose sight on that. So there are 3 customers: paying customer who's paying you to run the operation, and the customers who are operating. Those are the internal customers. And then it leads to, this is a summarized version of that idea, the art of innovation: implement, improve, enhance. Everybody should be happy. And of course, I also talked a little bit on the book about the essential ingredients you need, about the vision, mission, passion. I always believe these 3 things are important. In a summarized version, in innovation, vision is that inspiration come from the leader normally, or the supervisors to a team, where you want to go, right? So that shows you need that inspiration. For example, in 1960, when John F. Kennedy became the president, and that's the time, if you know the history, 1960, USA was behind Soviet Russia in the space race. Russia has already sent a dog called Laika to the outer space, the first country to do that. Then they sent a hero called Yuri Gagarin in 1957, and they were all geared to land in the moon before any other country. America was behind. They were losing the battle. Then comes the young president, 43 years of age, and he said, by end of this decade, we will put a man in the moon. So that he didn't know how to do it, but that's the inspiration. That's where we have to go. And they put billions of money pumped in, and they achieved that in 1969. And that's an amazing success story. Same like in a business world, Steve Jobs. Mission is people like you and I, how to do that, how to get it done, right? How to get there. And then, of course, the passion is the most, that's a heart you bring to the battle. Now, for example, there's the biggest war is about to happen since World War II in Europe because of one person's greed, which is a terrible thing. But you can talk about the passion. If you are watching the news, which side has the passion at the moment? Russians or the Ukrainians? Major, are you there? Who has the more passion about the war they are getting into?
The Russia, because Russia is having a passion because they are having the much more technology and they expanded these air defense systems and weaponry. So they are having the passion and the leadership.
I totally disagree. I totally disagree. They are better army, better equipped. They are probably the second or third biggest army in the world. But when it comes to passion, come from the heart, right? They are in the war because of a dictator's greed. But the people in Ukraine, knowing that they'll get killed, the president probably will get killed. But he's instilling the passion to his people. He said, no, we are going to give it a fight. We'll fight like guerrillas. So I don't agree on that point. We can talk about it later. But passion comes from the heart. It's not the technology and the superpower bullying some other nation. Passion is come from the heart. Anyway, that is the concept that I want to instill in this paper. And a couple of jokes also, like, a lot of people have ideas, I've been president of various bodies in different countries, and there are different people. I said there are three types of board members: people who bring the vision, people who bring the mission. Mission are the workers; they're always working. And if I'm the president, I should be the visionary. I should bring the vision and get the other people to do that. And then there are other people who are talkers. They bring these ideas. I said, okay, come. That's a very good idea, Rod. Can you serve in this subcommittee and implement that? And then he backs off. I said, no, I don't want any of the members to bring this. I was the president of a body called Institute of Hospitality in England. And in that position, not to brag, but I had to give leadership to 15,000 hospitality managers in 104 countries. And some people who make big complaints, but they are not there to serve the institution. I said, no, you should serve. Okay, I'll put you in a committee, try to solve that problem. So I said, if you have a problem, be a part of the solution of the problem. Don't just come with ideas. So often people have ideas. It's not a big deal. Creative people can always come with idea. You need the action. That's innovation to implement it. I'm a big admirer of Leonardo da Vinci, who lived about 550 years before us. If you look at these pictures, I'm sure everybody knows about da Vinci. Two of the greatest paintings ever done in the humankind, Mona Lisa, which is in Paris, Louvre, and the Last Supper, which is in Milan. Two greatest paintings. At the same time, this man created various theories about the human body. That picture is a self-portrait. He looks very old, but he was only 57 when he did that. This man, and Major, you'll be interested in knowing, he also invented the first army tank, first flying object, first submarine. He was amazing. He's the true Renaissance man with all these ideas. But some of he's not an innovator. He is a creator. He came with these ideas. And of course, certain people, certain armies, countries implemented his ideas later. So I just want to show his picture. I think it's unfair to talk about innovation and creativity without talking about Da Vinci. Now, a little comparison between the creativity versus innovation. Creativity is more of imagining new ideas, right? Innovation is all about implementing ideas, a team, that type of thing. And another slide comparing that. So idea itself is not good enough. Innovation is the action of putting things to practical reality. It should be real, practical. So there's some of these we can go on for a long time, but let me quickly, you will get this when I think Gaia or someone will send the whole video, so you can look at this later. I want to mention something about slum tourism. Slum tourism means, so for example, my experience of slum tourism is going to Soweto in South Africa. There are about, I think if I remember correct, 100,000 homes without running water or toilets in one, and it's not adjoining, it's about 15-minute drive from Johannesburg, which is a very advanced city. Then you go to the biggest ghetto in Africa. This is my picture with my wife. We are standing in the best house in Soweto, in the slum. I mean, we were slum tourists. We went to see how they live, and and we are sympathetic, and we give some donations. But we were also taken by our tour guide to the biggest house in Soweto. You know whose house that is? That was the house of Nelson Mandela. That's where he came from. That is his house. After he became president, he tried to live there, but it was not possible. All the people were trying to meet him. So it is a museum, and it has all his honorary doctorates and all that, his bed, and it's quite interesting. So slum tourism doesn't have to be ugly. It's also meaningful sometimes. And this, in South Africa, it also represents the struggle for freedom, for democracy in that country. I talk a lot about personal experiences because it's easy for me to explain. Hotel room design. This is one of the hotels I managed some years back. Samantha is here, she knows. This is the main hotel in the capital city of Jamaica. It's called Pegasus. It was, during my time, it was Forte, and then became we made it Le Méridien during my time. I want to tell you a story. This is 360 rooms. It's the biggest hotel in Jamaican capital. And I was fighting with the main board. I was representing the British company, Forte in London, and managing it. But my board has all the top who's who of the Jamaican business world. They were my board members. I met them once a month. I used to go there only with one of my managers, the financial control, and try to get more money and approvals and things like that with the board. I fought with them for a longest while. Our competitor was Hilton, the next door. It was a slightly smaller hotel with 300 rooms. Hilton spent $20 million to upgrade their rooms. And then I was worried. This hotel was built in 1970s. Hilton was built in 60s. And this is a much better hotel. And then they invested 15 or 20 million to upgrade all their rooms. You know what they did? In 60s, people built these small rooms, not like the modern day rooms. They made the room bigger, 300 rooms bigger, by taking the balcony. They removed that. They didn't remove the balcony, but they put the windows up to the end of the balcony. So the rooms don't have balconies anymore, but rooms are 25% bigger. And they spent $20 million doing that. I went to the board and said, we have to do the same thing. My competition, a fantastic hotel chain called Hilton, has made their room bigger, but there are no balconies. So I fought with the board and I asked for money. And then eventually, after about 3 or 4 board meetings and making my case, they said, okay, Chandi, you go ahead. We give you the money. At that point, I thought, is it innovation we are doing here? We are going to remove in this great hotel, use the balconies to expand the rooms, right? And make it more modern and more spacious. And just because our competitor did that. But I was thinking, I got the approval now. I was fighting for it for 6 months, but I felt something was missing. I brainstormed with my management team. We never asked the customer, our customers, what they want. So I told my chairman and the board, can you give me 1 more month? Then they looked at me as if, are you mad? You're fighting for all this money. Now we give you the money. And now you're saying that you want 1 more month. I said, yes, I want to do a customer survey. So they said, okay, all right, Chandi, come back in the next board meeting. We'll give you the money. So I got from the university, got some young MBA students, develop a questionnaire, not this big academic question, 3 questions we asked. What is your favorite aspect of Jamaica, Le Méridien Jamaica Pegasus? What is your main suggestion to improve the hotel, services, products, and anything you dislike in the hotel? But only 3 questions. And of course, we did a sample size. I think we interviewed 500 guests. We interviewed 42% Americans, 35% British, and 10% French, exactly the sample of our customers. And I told those MBA students, do it in 1 week. Don't ask too many questions, just those 3 questions, offer a drink to the customer and get the answers, and then tabulate it. And then I got one of my director of marketing to tabulate all that, and we got the information for the next board meeting. 87% of the customers we surveyed said the most interesting and the most biggest attraction for them is the balcony. The balcony of these 360 rooms. We are about to remove it, spending $15 million. They said that. So then we did further. We said, why do you like the balcony so much? They said, we know we are all business people. We come and then we like to sit in my 16th floor balcony and look at the Caribbean, the sunset on the Caribbean Sea, or look at the Blue Mountains and get some, those days people smoke a lot, smoke a cigar and then sit, get the fresh air. They love the balcony. We are about to remove it without asking. So that is not good innovation. You have to always ask the customer what they like. So I got the money eventually, but we use it for different things. We never copied Hilton and removed the balconies to make our rooms bigger. So sometimes we simply have to ask the customer. The case study was based on one of your hotels in Sri Lanka, Mount Lavinia Hotel. It's an old case study, but sometimes you can learn from these old case studies. So the whole idea was that, my first day, the very nice chairman, Mr. Upatta, he was the president of the Hotel Association last 3 years. You read the article, it's about innovation. And then I was told that we can't get ideas, but we got 2,400 ideas from the staff based on innovative push and pull strategy. We gave them rewards for the best idea, but the trick is you can always give it's a bad idea to give a reward. A guy I was talking about the Nigambo Hotel. It's a bad idea to give a reward just for idea. Here the trick was, I said, okay, ideas are good. I will help you as your new GM to implement it. But on implementation, we will decide what was the best idea. And the winner and his or her family will be sent to Singapore for 1 week. That's what we did. That's a good reward in 90s for a family in Sri Lanka. The second one was Maldives and then Dubai. And so it really worked. And the chairman said, Chandi, you have been in England for too long. They won't give any ideas. We have these comments boxes. I said, no, let's try this. Within a week, we generated 2,400 ideas. And as you know, there is a great hotel. There are 700 employees. They gave about 2,400 ideas. And that became our business plan. Now, when I look back, why did it work? It worked because that personal formula in innovation at the Mount Lavinia Hotel, it all 7 S's, so it's easy to remember. We had a very clear strategy. You read the article. There was an inspiring vision, and there's empowerment of employees. And we sought solutions, innovation from everybody. We just didn't say some qualified managers have all the ideas. Ideas came from bottom to top, and that is far more powerful if you can do that. Of course, we had a structure. Ideas were not coming to me. I mean, I'm the new GM. I'm busy. I'm not going to. I never went through the 2,400 ideas. I said each department, we have 13 managers. Publis was one, Chef Publis. I said, Publis, you pick out of the 100 employees you have in your department, give me 10 best ideas. You go through that. And, so each department, we have 13 departments. We had 130 ideas that came within about 2 weeks. Then 3 people looked at those. Myself as the general manager, I got the financial controller because everything depends on money. And I got the human resource director to sit with me. And we went through the 130 ideas, picked 39 ideas. That's a short list. So we selected. We can't do everything. Then, of course, like at that time, quality circles was a new concept in Sri Lanka. We got our staff trained in that. We gave the support, the coaching training. And then every month at the staff meeting, we would showcase what is happening now. Reward, celebrate the winners. And then, of course, once it's implemented, we learn from that experience, what can we do next year? So any innovative thing, you need a plan. So remember these 7 S's that may help you in your careers. Okay, now just to remind you, the question of the day, please vote yes or no, right? Can innovation be used in all human activities? I'll give a couple of examples from my life. This was formerly, I used to do all creative things of my whole life, but formal innovation I learned. I took some courses in 2007 in Toronto when I became a dean at George Brown College. So I was responsible for this big faculty. And my job was, but 20% of my job was to instill research and innovation in the department, in the faculty. And this is a big faculty. We had, I think, if I remember correct, we had 60 full-time professors in my team, 3 schools, and about another 200 instructors. So like people like chefs were called instructors. They didn't have a PhD to become professors. So they were called instructors. They were technically qualified. So we had 260 altogether, serving 3,300 hospitality, tourism, culinary arts students. It's a big place. We did some very creative, innovative things. For example, in the front of the building, we put all the kitchen labs, there are 17 labs in the front. So when this is in the King Street in Toronto, so when people drive through this main road, all they see is 3 shifts of chef students cooking, and people always like that. In one floor, they're cooking French food, next floor, they're cooking Italian. They are the postgraduate in Italian, and the next one, the Canadian food. So it was quite interesting. So, okay, my steps in mastering innovation. So that there I learned a lot from my team, and then my responsibility was to publish a report every year, capturing all the innovative initiatives by the professors, registered dietitians, nutritionists, graduate students, and we collaborated with the University of the College, and that was quite rewarding. Then, of course, from when I left the college system from 2013 to 19, I was involved in a series of innovative projects. The first training hotel for a university in Ottawa and things like that. Then, of course, as you know, 17 and 18, I brainstormed with the delegates of these conferences and tried to redefine innovation in 2019. Now, today, my business has gone down because of the pandemic. So we have used the same concept of innovation in different initiatives. You already know about the Global Spiritual Forum and Global Hospitality Forum. Those 2 forums now, after 1.5 years, has something like 8,300 members from 117 countries. And we have used the concept of innovation for 2 not-for-profit organizations to help each other. And it has worked fairly well now. And also, I write a weekly column called Confessions, and that we use aspects of innovation. And then I want to talk about emotions a little bit. It's a personal experience, but how innovation works even in something that is very close to your heart. So I want to talk about this personal experience. So I have been always painting in my life. I'm an artist. So from 1960, I've been doing art. Both my parents were artists, and so far I had done about 13 solo art exhibitions in 4 countries. So it has been my main hobby. 2018, I learned a new hobby, mainly because of my sister who's here, Professor Himasha Jayaratne. She is a published poet, and my father was a published poet, and my daughter writes poetry. So they were all saying, why don't you write poetry? I learned to write poetry just 3 or 4 years ago. Soon I thought, this is just an idea. This is not the innovation. This is the creativity. Okay, can't I combine these 2, poetry and art? So some people say, So I said, no. I want to do a book in 2022. So it became my 22nd book. I want to do it in visual poetry, which is not very usual. Not many poets are artists. Not many artists are poets. So I try to combine both. I'm a very sort of amateur poet, but I try to combine the 2. So this is the book which came, I think, about 3 weeks ago. Now, when I look at it, it is not a single journey. Publishing a book in a major publishing house who has published nearly 2,000 books now, is teamwork. It's not a one-person job, right? So when I thought about it this morning, I have actually worked with 10 groups of people or teams of professionals in putting this book out. So I just want to show how the creative idea can be converted to an innovative, profitable venture, but you need a team. So first, of course, I would bounce ideas with my dad, who was a great writer. He passed away at 98 last year. Then my sister, younger sister, was a professor and a poet. And then, bounce ideas and people give. And I listen to everybody who gives me ideas. So this is not good. It doesn't have to rhyme all the time. And then, of course, later, when I thought of the book, I surrounded myself with 6 reviewers. And so every poem I wrote, I send it to them. One is a university professor, one is a writer, one is an artist, and they give different ideas. Not that I accept all the ideas. So it's a teamwork. Then, of course, I had to learn how the publisher works here. And of course, with the publisher, I work with a group called Book Architect. Every book they publish, there's a book architect. Most authors are not good in being architects. So you structure the whole book and then you try to fill the shell. And then, of course, you work with proofreaders, then a layout designer, cover designer, website designer. Of course, then finally, book is available now with Amazon and Kindle. I want to give you guys you don't have to buy the book, but just a bonus. If you go to this website, it's called emotions2022.com. If you go there and go to click free bonuses, there are 5 bonuses that there's actually chapter of the book is there as well, and some of the pictures and things like that. So just visit it and see how I want to share with you how a personal interest became a creative journey, how I try to convert that to an innovative product. So I hope I'll still make some profit, but that's the idea. Now, next webinar, before we start questions, I want to give a little snapshot. Next webinar, we are going to talk about creative management of hotels, because some of the things I have written about are not essentially innovation, but they are more creative things. So there are 3 case studies, 2 written. One is a PowerPoint thing I want to share. So first one is about that hotel I showed, Pegasus. Creative management of hotels. I was fortunate to, and when you manage top level hotels, sometimes the certain skills that you don't learn at universities or hotel schools. For example, I had to host 34 heads of state, from Queen of England to Castro to Margaret Thatcher. You don't learn those things in the books, but I want to share that some of the things we did with them by sharing an article I've written on, dealing with President Castro. State visit. Then I want to share with you articles. Tonight I will send you these 2 articles. Something I published today. It is published today, but it's an old story. This is the first time at age 25 I became a manager for John Keel's, one of their hotels. The biggest challenge there, this is in Morogel Beach in Beruel, was the beach boys, And if I think about it, before 2019, it was one of the biggest problems the hotel industry tourism has faced. The beach boys menace and the touts and harassment of tourists. And this was so organized. At one time, there were 1,000 beach boys operating in the Morogel Beach. And 3 thugs control the 3 sections of the beach. And each hotel is looked after by 1 thug. It's like the mafia heyday in New York City, and they have to be looked after, So these are things you don't learn in books. So I try to capture that whole story. So I will send you the link. You can read this, and this is going to be one of the articles. So I wrote it. It's just out today. I think it's about 2,500, 3,000 words, not very long. How at that time I dealt with those village thugs. Now my question to you will be, do you still have a similar problem in Sri Lanka, in Beruala, in Hikkadua, in Bentota, in Negombo? And what are the lessons you can learn from someone who has done some creative things those days? Can you still use those tactics today? Is it still relevant? Sometimes things are still relevant, right? In innovation. And the third one is, I want to talk, I've not written this. It's actually a case study I did on a PowerPoint thing for my students here when I was a professor. I was suddenly asked to open a brand new 5-star hotel in South America for two purposes. This happened in 2007. This country, Guyana, were hosting the World Cup cricket. I mean, between Jamaica and other Caribbean, Barbados and all that. But they were playing two games in Guyana. They didn't have enough hotel rooms. And the government got involved with the business people, decided to build a 5-star 300-room hotel in Guyana to accommodate the World Cup cricket, all the cricket teams, plus the fans. Plus, they were also going to have a summit of 19 presidents. It's called Rio Summit. That is all the Latin American countries. There are 13 countries in South America. Plus, there were 6 countries who speak Spanish in the Caribbean. So it's called Rio Summit. All these presidents were coming and they didn't have a hotel to accommodate all of them. So my task as a consultant was, come, bring your team, come to the forest, open the hotel, train the staff, and it was a big, and I want to share that, that we had to use some innovative methods in doing that task. And it was quite a tough assignment. I want you to ask questions now, right? I want to see how many of you said that. I'll stop sharing now. And let's see the chat. Okay, so now my question was whether innovation is used for any aspect of your life. So as I can see, there are only one person said no, and about 10 people said yes. Other people didn't comment. I don't know why. Maybe they don't know how to use the chat room, but that's okay. So what we see is 90% of you say yes, innovation can be used in anything in your life. I like you to ask some questions now. We have about 17 minutes. Floor is yours now.
Good morning, sir. This is Major.
Yes,
we were talking about the blockchain technology. Actually,
yes.
Now the blockchain technology is the most advanced technology in the world, and it's a decentralized. So with the artificial intelligence, it is becoming more and more. So we can use this for this is my suggestion, because I am interested in blockchain technology. So now imagine now from the time that the booking is done to a hotel. So if we can use now all these blockchain technology with generate with the hash code and encryption and decryption.
Yeah.
So once the face recognition is done, with the initial step when we are booking the hotel room, we can identify a person from the face recognition, and that will be coded in the blockchain technology. While he was traveling at the airport, you need not to carry the board and weight. So with the face recognition camera, you will have a mobile phone with the face recognition camera. So once you see the face, he will identify this is the if Dr. Chandi is this is Dr. Chandi. So at once he go and talk to that man. Hi, Dr. Hi, Dr. Chandi, please come. So without any name board or anything, that he will identify that person like is coming.
That was mainly impact the future, but what's your question, Major? Or
Actually,
you're making, right?
How the blockchain technology can be implemented. That is my idea that I was telling you. This is very advanced and actually very costly. So if you go for this type of thing, so the revenues when you spend such amount, can we achieve these with the blockchain technology? You think?
Blockchain is still in the not development, but the next stage, right? It's not come to the maturity. So at this stage, like any new product, like the iPhone or whatever, it still is expensive stage. But in time to come with the more users, I'm sure it will be cheaper and affordable to smaller people. But I'll be surprised if big companies like John Kears and Atkins Spence are not using blockchain. I don't know. I don't live in Sri Lanka. Do they use blockchain technology?
No, no one is still using the blockchain technology in Sri
Maybe it has
Lanka.
not come to Sri Lanka in such a way, but I'm sure eventually these things will Of course, we are in a sort of, we are post so many things. Even if people plan to implement it in bigger companies, they must be waiting till this pandemic thing is over and things like that. But my answer is that is eventually bigger companies, organizations will benefit it more than simple, the smaller organizations.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, buddy. Anyone else? Any questions?
Doctor, excuse me, my name is Anushka here. In
Yes,
fact,
sir.
just to add to Chatura's and your conversation, Cinnamon Life and Shangri-La has already have a thought on implementing this blockchain
They have,
concept. They have, especially the Cinnamon Life, which we are coming up very
yeah,
soon. That cluster will definitely have the new technologies, few other upgraded technologies incorporated on their launch as well, which since I saw that thing and it was taken in discussion with our when the general manager participated in our discussion with Sri Lanka Tourism Expo, he did mention about that thing and express his thoughts and how their path is on the importance of getting the technology to brand it as well as to market it.
that's a very wise investment because, I mean, although it's an expenditure now, in the long run, they will be saving more money. And, so it's like any technological thing, development stage is expensive, but you have to invest. And sometimes people are waiting till John Keel's and bigger companies, Shangri-La, use it, but eventually it's going to be popular. So for us it's good to understand what this is something that's coming in time to come. Any other questions about anything else we discussed?
Another thing
So
that I was thinking, sorry, the innovation, we all realize the importance of innovation during the pandemic, post-pandemic as well, especially for our survival in Sri Lanka as the DMCs, as the hoteliers who remain and who are continuing, had the innovation and the creativity which drive them to survive in this pandemic situation and to cater to the new request, I should say. So
I fully agree with that. I'll tell you a story, right? Because when you have problems like the pandemic, people become more creative, more innovative. They're trying to find solutions. I'll give you an example. I used to manage, I was the food and beverage director for Galadari Meridian in the 80s. I was the first Sri Lankan to be holding that position. Now it's a normal thing. But in the mid 80s, there were no food and beverage directors in five-star hotels who looked like me. So it was a struggle for me to get the job. Once I got the job, of course, we are in the middle of Colombo. Every second week, there's a big bomb. This is the time that Central Bank was bombed later and there were bus station bomb always. So when a bomb goes off in Colombo, everybody leaves. Curfew is coming. Everybody, I mean, if you remember, some of you, maybe you were not born at that time, everybody drives out of Colombo. Very few people like idiots like me who are driving straight to Colombo because I had to go to work. And I quickly learned this is something that's going to happen all the time. There are bombs coming, curfew come, and then what do? We have to look after the guests. There are 500 rooms, right? And then we have 1,000 employees we have to look after. And then I quickly developed a manual, when a bomb goes, curfew comes, I want to make my life easy. And so I made a big structure. The moment bomb goes, curfew comes, these are the people who will come to the hotel. They are the brave soldiers. They come and then we close the French restaurant, we close the Chinese restaurant, we close the Colombo club, we keep the coffee shop and the nightclub. It's important when there's people are under pressure to keep them entertained. So we run the nightclub called Colombo 2000, no bands, with just a DJ, and operate it. And then we give 2 floors of the hotel. I think hotel had about 17 floors. We close them for the front office, make them staff quarters. So this was like a military operation, logistics, everything. And I was, as a food and beverage director, I was in charge of this. And then I developed a manual, and then we learned a lot how to run a hotel under such difficulties. And that was a very interesting period. Now, of course, after that, I went to work in Baghdad for Oberoi. And that was also a good experience because sometimes people, life is not a bed of roses. The life, my friend here, Chatura, has chosen to be a soldier, officer. So it's a tough job. Sometimes during peacetime, it's easy. But you have to know when it's the worst time of that in that career, how to operate. And the innovation comes very useful in the difficult situations like that. Okay, any other questions on hospitality, tourism, innovation, next week's questions, my marking system, anything?
So can you explain use of cryptocurrencies in hospitality? How you see that, sir?
I think it will happen in time to come, but not at the moment. I think the world is learning a lot about this currency. My son, who is 19 years, I should get him to talk about it. He is investing in the currency. I am not very, it's something that has come. The world is looking at it. And I think the hotels will eventually be involved. But at the moment, I'm not expert on it. I can't talk in length. My teenage son is expert. But I can add something else to you.
Dr. Chandi, this is...
Sorry? Yes?
Sorry to disturb. Dr. Chandi, this is Jayamali.
Yes.
Just because now you spoke about all the time that you spent as a manager in Sri Lanka in difficult times you have gone through. So I would like to know your personal opinion. Like now at the moment also we are having some uncertainty with the war happening in Ukraine and all. So I would like to know your opinion about the forecast of Sri Lanka tourism in immediate future. What do you think about that?
My feeling is that all the master plans done before, you have to throw it outside the window. And then last week we were talking when things improve, right? 2023 should be the year that we get back to near normalcy, maybe 80%. And we need a new rolling master plan. But on top of that, what's happening in Russia invading Ukraine, this is I hope you watch the world news. Now, this is the biggest challenge Europe has faced since the end of Hitler, right? I mean, this is a big problem because they supply 50% of gas to Europe, and all the prices will go up, inflation. So at a war, Major will confirm this. No one wins. Wars are the worst thing human beings have invented. And 21st centuries, I can't believe that someone would do a thing like this, just go and invade someone else's country and claiming something that is 100 years old. Because countries have borders now, these are evolved over the years. Like Africa, I saw the ambassador for Kenya talking at the UN. He said, what are we talking about these boundaries? We have 51 countries in Africa. These boundaries were given to us by our colonial masters who came and enslaved us, raped us, and they created these countries. So Iraq and Iran, all these countries were the boundaries were created by someone else, but we have inherited that. So we can't go back and fight each other. So these disputes are there, but it's so sad. But my point is that it will have a major impact. I think it will be difficult for us to forecast anything. I think the big players, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, should take a decision now how they are going to deal with it, because this technically they can't help too much because Ukraine is not a member, and Putin invaded because Ukraine will be a member. So this is a macro level situation which you and I have no clue where it is going. We have to go with the flow now. We have to watch the news, and I hope there will be it doesn't look like a peaceful solution, and which is very sad. Talking about wars, I want to tell you two things, and I think Major will like this. Two great leaders in the past, because sometimes we have a feeling that what happened 30 years ago may not be relevant. You can learn from what happened in the past. To me, the most innovative political leader the world has seen in the last 100 years was what's his name, the Singaporean Prime Minister. Lee Kuan Yew, right?
Lee Kuan Yew.
Innovative guy. If you know about Singapore's background, that is true innovation. I'm a big fan of him. I read his autobiography. The guy, Singapore didn't get independence from Malaysia, from UK. They got independence from Malaysia. It was like a little port. No one wanted it. And this one politician, and he was not the most democratic person, built the country. And you know what he did in 1960 when Singapore was created as a city country? He went to, you learn in innovation, you learn from others. They are better or lower than you, doesn't matter. You know what he did? He went to all the 50 Commonwealth countries. He came to Colombo. He studied the Colombo plan. We had a thing called Colombo plan done in 1950s. He studied that. And then Sri Lankans were very impressed. Oh, the new Prime Minister of Singapore came here to learn things. When I started living in other countries, they all talk about Lee Kuan Yew. In Guyana, he came to Guyana to look at their sort of, Guyana is a fairly big country, size of the United Kingdom. Jamaica, he came there, met the Chinese communities. He went everywhere. You know, when he became the president later, he would take his one country where 50% of the cabinet were technocrats. They were not politicians. They were hired because they ran the biggest bank in the country, top brains, they recruited them. They're not politicians. But every year, he would take his whole cabinet and go to Yale or Harvard and tell those top professors, teach us the latest economic policies you have developed. In 1 week, they get a condensed version of all the advancement in North America. And then the last day is we don't want the professors here now, American professors. We want to have a discuss among ourselves, discuss out of all these innovative things there. I mean, America is still the most innovative. Isha, can you mute yourself? You are making a noise. Mute. Yeah. Okay. And he will brainstorm with his cabinet. What are the things we can implement? Not in 10 years. Next year, he went back and implemented those. And then they grew every year. And now is one of the greatest financial powers. So a small country, which even has to import water, became a true Asian land. How did he do that? If you want to study about innovation in politics, you should do that. Before we finish, I want to talk about, just for measure's sake, 2 military innovations which happened 2,500 years ago. Taking over someone else's country is a terrible thing, but that's what in the olden days people did. The British Empire and all these people, they were thieves who came to other countries and raped people, made them slaves, and and no one should be proud about those things, But that's what the world did. But in that context, 2 people are most outstanding for innovation. Their innovation was not based on education and all that. It's a thinking outside the box. I'll give you 2 examples. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was the Mongolian, the great emperor. He wasn't, China was very advanced at that time, and they invented the gunpowder, printing, all these things. But Mongolians were more like pirates. But he built an empire, very brutal, a lot of killings and all that. But one example, during the winter in Mongolia, in North China, no one fought wars because everything is frozen, right? They wait for the spring to attack the enemies. You know what Genghis Khan did? How he became he controlled half of the known world at that time. Most of the attacks were done in the winter. You know why? No one else is thinking. They're relaxing in their villages. He said, so then his people said, but Lord, how do we move? How the horses? He said, in the water, frozen rivers. He's the first guy to do that. That's very innovative thinking. First time. So you go on the frozen rivers, use it like a road, and village by village you conquer. And by spring, when the enemies are sleeping, and he has acquired most of the land. The other guy is Alexander the Great. I mean, it's the same time like Lord Buddha, a long time ago, right? He became the emperor when he was 17. His father died. And the next 16 years, he kept on invading countries. Egypt went and eventually came to India. And when he came to India, they are going to have the battle with Russia invading the Ukraine. Now, next morning, he knows that the battle will happen in that valley. And you are waiting and watching the people, watching the enemy, and then doing the strategizing with his generals. And he saw something for the first time in his life. The enemy has some huge looking animals. He said, what are those? Then they said, oh Lord, they are called elephants. They have never seen an elephant in his life. Never seen an elephant. So what is that? 1,000 elephants. 1,000 elephants by the enemy. And so people, his generals, everybody getting worried now. How do we fight that? He said, no, don't worry. He thought for a while, think outside the box. He said, if they have 1,000 elephants, this region must be having these animal elephants. And he told some of the generals, go and get me 50 elephants, 100 elephants. Pay, bribe them, do whatever. Get me 100 of those big animals. They got 100 elephants. Of course, this is a very cruel thing they did. This is a true story. They lined the 100 elephants against the 1,000 enemy elephants. And he said, when I give the order, I want these 100 soldiers to come with big axes and hit the elephants back. I mean, cut the elephants back. And, that's a terrible thing to do, but animal cruelty, and these were, invaders. So that's what they did. With that attack, these 100 elephants went mad with the pain, and they screamed and charged towards the 1,000 elephants. Can you guess what will happen when 100 mad elephants who are in pain are far more stronger than 1,000 elephants? 1,000 elephants got scared. They trampled the enemy and went away, and he won that war. So it's not a good thing he did, but sometimes you have to learn the situation very quickly. So what you need is an innovative thinking and a brain to train to be thinking innovatively. Think outside the box. And with that, we are going to stop. I think we are 3 minutes past. We are going to have fun next time. I'm going to send you an email with the questions. And those who are not very fluent and talking and a bit nervous, I can give you another option. This one of the articles I'm sending you about the village beach boy problems, that is from Island newspapers published there. But I also post it in the Facebook group, Global Hospitality Forum, and there are normally about 50-60 people comment on it. If you like to, if some of you feel more comfortable writing your answer, you can actually, when I send you the email today, you can reply that, go to the Facebook, go to the Global Hospitality Forum and comment there, and I can see, and you can comment on it. So sometimes people are under pressure. I don't want you to feel under pressure in the class talking. I mean, that's the way I can get marks, but I am now giving another option. I'll explain that in my email. So I'll give that as an alternative marking thing. So if you have done that in the Facebook, you don't have to speak at the class next week. And then that way we can have more time for the lecture and the discussion. All right, I'll explain that in my email. I'll give the link for that Facebook group. And I think it will be a good thing if you get involved there and make some comments, and then I can respond immediately, and we can have a longer dialogue that way. I know Major likes to have more discussion. We can do that online. Okay, thank you very much. See you next Sunday.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Himasha.
Okay.
Lisa, we can talk now if you want.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, before the wind-up session, I would express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Chandi. And in the summarize, he mentioned about the importance of implementing vision, mission, and a passion about any organization and how to practice them, and a lot of practical implications among the global practices, and gathering the information from the customers and think out of the box and be innovative. So a lot of information over there. I think it's really fruitful and important to us. And I like to again say thank you very much, Dr. Chandi, for your comprehensive session, and hope to see you in next week with another interesting session with you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I Boa.
Thank you, Himasha. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
For joining.
Sorry.
You're making a lot of noises. Everybody.
Nice program. Nice program.
Oh, hi, Premala.